Okay. Herb number 2 in herbs that dispel wind dampness is Ling Xian.
Xiang is called clematis root.
Hmm.
It enters the bladder and is acrid, salty, and it is warm.
So what does acrid do?
Acrid, it moves the chi and the blood.
And what does salty herbs do?
Salty herbs disperse accumulation and soften hardness. It strongly mobilizes all 12 channels to unblock painful obstruction by dispelling wind, dampness, and phlegm, and to soften areas of hardness. It dispels
So
wind dampness.
warm herbs not only dispel cold, but they also soften up and warm the interior to get rid of obstructions.
I'd say so, because cold is astringent.
I'm saying so.
It unblocks the channels and alleviates pain. Especially useful for treating wind painful obstruction, as it both releases the exterior and promotes the movement of qi in the channels.
So, what's most important so far to remember about Wei Ling Xian from the key characteristics?
Well, it softens and transforms fish bones.
Oh, yeah, this is a fun one. But it strongly mobilizes all 12 channels to unblock painful obstruction.
And phlegm. That's painful and obstructing.
And so it's powerful enough to get rid of a fish bone stuck in
Wow.
your throat. But
It's salty. Yeah.
that's something that we don't experience so much anymore because most of our fish comes without the bones if you get it from the market. But if you're catching your own fish, which is pretty awesome.
Little fish tend to have little bones that easily get stuck, Softens and transforms fish bones lodged in the throat. And it's ineffective in the treatment of deeply lodged or relatively large bones. So it's only good for like little bitty ones.
If you don't have any Wei Ling Qian on hand, you can also use vinegar to get rid of the fish bones.
I think so.
I think the dog just peed on the floor.
Uh-oh. I think you're right.
Oh no. Okay, so the things to remember about Wei Ling Qiang is that it can get rid of fish bones, dissolve fish bones, it dispels wind dampness, and unblocks the channels. It strongly mobilizes all 12 meridians or channels to unblock painful obstruction.
Okay. Also used for focal distension and accumulation in the middle burner because it reduces phlegm and pathogenic water. Wei Ling Xiang is acrid and thus dispersing with a strong mobilizing tendency and a warm unblocking and facilitating nature that promotes flow in all the channels, although it tends to favor the lower limbs. Externally, it disperses pathogenic wind. Internally, it transforms dampness, unblocks the channels, and extends its reach through the collaterals. Wei Ling Xiang is an important herb for pain due to wind. It is indicated for painful obstruction disorder due to wind, dampness, or cold leading to restricted movement of the joints, numbness of the muscles and flesh, and aches and pains in the sinews and bones. It is also used for phlegm water in the vicinity of the diaphragm, as well as for gynecological pain due to qi and blood obstruction. Wei Ling Xiang is also salty. It softens areas of hardness and disperses clumps. It is therefore used for abdominal masses, breast lumps, and other clumping. Traditionally, it has been used alone to soften bones lodged in the throat. However, because it's very young and mobilizing in nature, it is also drying and tends to exhaust the normal qi.
It's important
It must therefore not be used for extended periods of time in the weaker patients.
So I'm guessing although B syndrome affects older patients more often, you have to be really careful with herbs that dispel wind dampness. These in particular, because they can exhaust qi when you might already have a qi deficiency being an older patient.
Yes.
Maybe yin deficiency, a little bit of blood deficiency as well. So as we study further, we might find herbs that work better for older patients.
Should we read about the toxicity or just move on?
Yes.
Because of its
Anemone?
anemone and proto-anemone content, this herb has a certain degree of toxicity which is reduced by lengthy storage in a dry environment. Within the normal range of dosage, no significant side effects are to be expected. However, overdosage, long-term use, or even long-term topical application in high doses may cause toxic reactions. Symptoms include burning sensation, swelling and ulcerations of the oral cavity, vomiting, abdominal pain, severe diarrhea, dyspnea, how do you pronounce that?
Bradycardia. Agitation, a pale face, cold sweat, and dilated pupils. In severe cases, death has been reported about 10 hours after ingestion. The symptoms after topical application in high dosage include rash, blistering of the skin, and allergic dermatitis. You know what, guys? Really got to read about the toxicity before you prescribe herbs, or just give somebody something and say, hey, drink this, because you never know what could happen.
And ask about or determine somehow whether or not they have deficiency in yin and blood.
Yeah. It's more common in older patients or skinny, depleted systems.
Deficient.
Okay.
What's the next
one?
So
the most important things about Wei Ling Xian for us to remember is that it strongly mobilizes all 12 channels to unblock painful obstruction, and it also is able to soften and transform fish bones that are stuck in the throat.
Yeah, it disperses accumulation and clumps and hardness.
Those are all actions of acrid, salty, and warm herbs.